guys! What's up? Alpha Lion Simba here, and welcome to part 13 of sentencing Disney villains for their crimes. As always, I am your judge, jury, and executioner. So now, let me summon our bailiff, prosecution lawyer, and counselor, Jiminy Cricket.
Thank you, Alpha. Like always, I'm here to help you.
Thanks, buddy. Anyway, the experimental era continues because tonight we're covering the villains from Lilo and Stitch, Treasure Planet, and Home on the Range. So, with no further ado, court is now officially in session.
I hope you're ready to join our Ohana because our first film for this week is Lilo and Stitch, which means that our first villain to stand trial is Captain Gantu. Yup. Now, like Razul, one can technically make the argument that Gantu was just doing his job since the Grand Councilwoman sent him to capture Stitch after Jumba and Pleakley failed, but he does have a charge underneath his belt because he succeeded in capturing Stitch, but he also caught Lilo too, and mind you, Lilo was not wanted by the Galactic Council, and she didn't do anything wrong. But Gantu was perfectly fine with taking her anyway. Thus, that makes him guilty of kidnapping. And with that in mind, I hereby sentence Gantu to 19 years in the slammer without parole. Alrighty, now set sail for our next space-themed adventure, Treasure Planet. Yup, so now John Silver will stand trial for his crimes. Since he's a pirate, right off the bat, he is charged with piracy. And he also took Dr. Doppler and Captain Amelia prisoner to try and force Jim to lead them to the treasure, making him guilty of kidnapping. But in light of the fact that he decided to give up the treasure and save Jim, his sentence shall be reduced. Indeed, instead, Silver will be sentenced to just 5 months in jail. However, Scroop will not be getting off the hook so easy. Like Silver, Scroop is a pirate, so right off the bat, that's a charge of piracy. And during the voyage, he killed Mr. Arrow by dropping him into the black hole, making him guilty of murder. And he got Jim Hawkins blamed for his crime, giving him a charge of false incrimination. Yup. And towards the climax, he tried to kill Jim himself with his claws and pirate weapons, thus giving him a charge of attempted murder. And for that, I think Scroop is deserving of nothing less than the death penalty. The execution manner? Just toss him into a black hole. Alright, saddle up, partners. Our last film in the docket is Home on the Range. And first, Rico shall stand trial. You would think, given his profession as a bounty hunter, he'd be on the right side of the law. Nope. Instead, he is guilty of aiding and abetting, as he helped Slim evade the law for so long. And unlike Bruton or Kronk, who were also guilty of that charge, Rico actually does commit some crimes as he helped Slim out with his cattle rustling scheme. And because of all that, I hereby sentence Rico to 22 years in the clink without parole. Up next is Mr. Wesley. Now, given that he works in the black market, right off the bat, that's a charge of black market trading. And given his treatment of cattle and his involvement with Slim's scheme, that's a charge of animal cruelty. For all this, I sentence Wesley to 30 years in prison. Up next are Slim's 3 nephews, the Willie brothers. Yup, they're Slim's main helpers, so that's a charge of aiding and abetting. And given that they, like their uncle, are cattle rustlers, that makes them guilty of kidnapping, theft, and animal cruelty. However, since they aren't particularly bright, they'll get only a slightly lighter sentence, and the Willie brothers are sentenced to just 9 years in the doghouse. And our last villain to stand trial for this week is Alameda Slim. Now, given that he's a cattle rustler, automatically that makes him guilty of kidnapping, theft, and animal cruelty. Plus, he constantly yells at and hits his nephews, which gets him a charge of domestic abuse. And when he buys off the land of the bankrupt farmers and ranchers, he disguises himself as a man by the name of Mr. Yancey Odell. Yes, really. So that's a charge of identity fraud. With all this in mind, I think it's only fitting to sentence Alameda Slim to 25 years in prison without parole.
Well, that was it. That was part 13 of sentencing Disney villains for their crimes. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked it. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And again, let's thank Jiminy for his kind assistance.
No problem, Alpha, my friend. I'll see you next week.
And stay tuned for next week. But in the meantime, this session of court is now adjourned.